to the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. Numbers 10:2. Make thee 2 trumpets of silver, of a whole piece shall thou make them. A whole piece of silver, I guess. That thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly and for the journeying of the camps. 10:8 and 9. And the sons of Aaron the priests shall blow with the trumpets, and they shall be to you for an ordinance, for an ever throughout your generations. And if you go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Lord your God, and ye shall be saved from your enemies. Numbers 29:1. And in the 7th month, on the 1st day of the month, ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no several work. It is the day of blowing the trumpets unto you. Numbers 31:6. And Moses sent them to war, 1,000 of every tribe. Wait, is that right? 31, yeah. And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, to the war, with the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hand. Joshua 6, let's see, 6. Joshua 6:4. And the 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns, and the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with the trumpets. And Joshua 6:6. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said unto them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. Verse 8. And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns passed on before the Lord, and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. And verse 9. And the armed men went before the priests that blew with the trumpets, and the rewarded came after the ark, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. Verse 13. And the 7 priests bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord went on continually and blew with the trumpets, and the armed men went before them, but the reward came after the ark of the Lord, the priests going on and blowing the trumpets. Those guys are pretty brave going out there. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priests blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for the Lord hath given you the city. Verse 20, and this is still in Joshua 6. 6:20. So the people shouted when the priests blew with the trumpets, and it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. Judges 7:8. I just do this to for me to remember mainly. maybe somebody else will get something out of it too. Judges 7:8. So the people took victuals in their hand and their trumpets, and he sent all the rest of Israel, every man unto his tent, and retained those 300 men, and the host of Midian was beneath him in the valley. Judges 7:18 is the next one. When I blow with the trumpet, I and all that are with me. Okay, when I blow with the trumpet, and all that are with me, then blow ye the trumpets also on every side of the camp, and say, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. Verse 19. So Gideon and the 100 men that were with him came unto the outside of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch, and they had but newly set the watch, and they blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers that were in their hands. Verse 20. And the 3 companies blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers, and held the lamps in their left hands and the trumpets in their right hands to blow withal. And they cried, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. So they had the trumpet in one hand, and they had their lamp in the other hand, so they had light and sound. And let's see, verse 22, or 21 and 22. And they stood every man in his place round about the camp, and all the host ran and cried and fled. And the 300 blew the trumpets, and the Lord set every man's sword against his fellow, even throughout all the host. And the host fled to Bethshiltah in Zererath, and to the border of Abel-Meholah, unto Tabith. I'm really bad at pronouncing these, sorry. I'm trying. 2 Kings 9:13. Kings 9. Then they hasted and took every man his garment and put it under him on the top of the stairs, and blew with trumpets, saying, Jehu is king. 2 Kings 11:14. And when she looked, behold, the king stood by a pillar, as the manner was, and the princes and the trumpets by the king, and all the people of the land rejoiced, and blew their trumpets. And Athaliah rent her clothes, and cried, treason, treason. Not sure what that story's about. I'm just reading what verses with trumpets in it. 2 Kings 12:13. Howbeit that there were not made for the house of the Lord bowls of silver, snuffers, basons, trumpets, any vessels of gold or vessels of silver, of the money that was brought into the house of the Lord. 1 Chronicles 13:8. 13:8. Sorry, it takes me a little. This gives us some time to find it, if you're following along. 13:8. And David and all Israel played before God with all their might, and with singing, and with harps, and with psalteries, and with trembles, and with cymbals, and with trumpets. And verse 15, 24, and 28. 15, 24, and 28. And Shemaiah, and Jehoshaphat, and Nethaniel, and Amashai, and Zechariah, and Benaniah, and Elzar the priest did blow with the trumpets before the ark of God. And Bididom and Jeriah are the doorkeepers for the ark. 28. Thus all Israel brought up the ark of the covenant of the Lord with shouting, and with sound of the cornet, and with trumpets, and with cymbals, making a noise with psalteries and harps. 1 Chronicles 16:6. Benaniah also and Jehaziel the priest with trumpets continually before the ark of the covenant of God. 16:42. And with them Heman and Jeduthun with trumpets and cymbals for those that should make a sound, and with musical instruments of God. And the sons of Jeduthun were porters. Getting the idea of what these guys, a lot of jobs, everybody has their job. 2 Chronicles 5:12. 2 Chronicles 5:12 through 13. Sorry, I get a little confused. Okay. Also the Levites, which were the singers of all of them, of Asaph, of Heman, of Jeduthun, with their sons and their brethren, being arrayed in white linen, having cymbals and psalteries and harps, stood at the east end of the altar, and with them 120 priests sounding the trumpets. It came even to pass, as the trumpeters and singers were as one, to make one sound to be heard in praising and thanking the Lord. And when they lifted up their voice with the trumpets and the cymbals and the instruments of music, and praised the Lord, saying, For he is good, for his mercy endureth forever, that then the house filled with a cloud, even the house of the Lord. So when they were singing like that, the Lord came in his cloud amongst them. 2 Chronicles 7:6. And the priests waited on their offices, the Levites also, instruments of music of the Lord, which David the king had made to praise the Lord, because his mercy endureth forever. When David praised by their ministry, and the priests sounded the trumpets before them, all of Israel stood. 2 Chronicles 13 through, or 12 through 14. And behold, God himself is with us for our captain, and his priests with surrounding trumpets, to cry alarm against you, O children of Israel. Fight ye not against the Lord of your fathers, for ye shall not prosper. But Jeroboam caused an ambushment to come about behind them, and they were before Judah, and the ambushment was behind them. And when Judah looked back, behold, the battle was before and behind, and they cried unto the Lord, and the priests sounded the trumpets. Sorry, I kind of lose my place sometimes. 2 Chronicles 15:14. And he did evil because, well, this is wrong. 2 Chronicles 15. See, this is good. It keeps my brain working at least. 15:14. And they swear unto the Lord with a loud voice, and with shouting, and with trumpets, and with cornets. And chapter 20 and verse 28. And they came to Jerusalem with psalteries, with harps, with trumpets, unto the house of the Lord. And 2 Chronicles 29:26. These trumpets are pretty important. 29:26. And the Levites stood with the instruments of David, and the priests with the trumpets. 27. And Hezekiah commanded to offer the burnt offering upon the altar. And when the burnt offering began, the song of the Lord began also with the trumpets and with the instruments ordained by David, king of Israel. And next one is Ezra 3:10. And when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel with trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with cymbals, to praise the Lord after the ordinance of David, king of Israel. Nehemiah 12:35 and 12:41. And certain of the priests' sons with trumpets, namely Zechariah, and the son of Jonathan, the son of Shemaiah, the son of Mattaniah, the son of Michaiah, the son of Zaccur, the son of Asaph. And the priest Eliakim, Mattaniah, Michaiah, Elionaiah, Zechariah, and Hananiah with trumpets. Really bad at pronouncing, sorry. And Job 39:25. Job 39:25. He saith among the trumpets, Ha ha! And he smelleth the battle afar off, the thunder of the captains and the shouting. Psalm 98:6. With trumpets and the sound of cornet make a joyful noise before the Lord the King. Revelation 8:2. Revelation 8, verse 2. And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And Revelation 8:6. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. Imagine what that sound would be like. Wow. And the frequency that would shatter a lot, I would think, in this modern world. So this brought me to the book of Zechariah and that prophecy, which is pretty intense. So I hope you stick around for that. And I hope you were blessed by this as much as I was.